Polo G. You had him on your show.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about on camera what happened between me and Polo G. I did an interview with you, and you know something? Before me and him got on FaceTime, I didn't even remember what I said exactly because this was part of a 3-hour conversation. So I went back and looked at exactly what I said to you on your podcast. And what I said was, I think Polo is a great artist. We ran into each other at a bank. We had a respectful conversation outside the bank, which is something he didn't say that's not true. The way I described it, he co-signed. No one got disrespected in the process. But what I said was, based on his gun charge, his kidnapping charge, his brother being charged with murder, his mom shooting at his sister, leaving a gun in New York, I feel like he is approaching these situations as if his money is going to buy him out of everything and he's not taking this seriously enough. I believe that was very close to my words. I didn't call him any sort of derogatory term on any level. So when he called me, said, we need to speak, I said, sure. And he got on FaceTime wearing all his jewelry, which was kind of weird. And he started screaming at me. And I said, you need to lower your tone or I'm going to hang up on you. And he wouldn't lower his tone. So I hung up on him. And we went back and forth, and he demanded that I meet up with him in person, which I thought was insane, considering all the guns and murders and shootings that are around him. I said, I'm not going to do it. And we had some back and forth, and at one point, we both just left it alone. He went on your show, and you asked him about it. And what he said was relatively accurate. He didn't lie. He basically said what he said. And I told him, I said, if you want to meet up with me, come do an interview. When he did your show and I said, listen, you're trying to promote your album right now, come do an interview. We'll talk about everything you want to talk about. He didn't respond. Relatively recently, he got caught with another gun in LA.
There's an interesting part of that interview. I was being careful with asking about certain things because I knew there were open cases. But he had caught a gun case in New York for having a gun in his hotel room. And I was kind of bringing that up, and I'm like, hey, listen, I understand where you come from. I'm not going to act naive, and I'm not going to sit here and try to berate you. Like, yo, why the hell you have a gun in New York? I get it. Safety is a huge thing, and also I'm a huge Second Amendment right person, even though, granted, if you're a felon, then you're not supposed to have it, sir. But you're not supposed to have it. But whatever.
Well, number one, he doesn't live in New York, so he's not even supposed to have a gun at all in New York. This was someone who's a prior New York resident who had a legal gun. No. So getting a gun in New York is a huge thing just to do at one point, but a carry permit is essentially impossible in New York.
So I'm saying this to him to kind of let him know I'm not here to be like, you're stupid for having a gun. I know where you're from, right? But you should have some type of parameters and people around you to make sure you're not the one getting arrested for the gun, right? And when I brought it up to him, because I'm trying to ask it in a way where he doesn't have to talk about the case particularly, I said, is there anything you have changed since then? And maybe how you move and operate that maybe these things wouldn't happen anymore. And he pauses, and he looks at me, kind of looks around, he looks up, looks left, looks down, looks like he's putting a cheat code on GTA. And he says to me, nah,
yep,
kind of exactly how I would probably do it again. So when he got caught with another gun, I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, he said what he's about, and he's living it.
Hey, my mom always say this, man, a hard head make a soft behind. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, he actually mentioned, I didn't realize this fully because I thought that the murder charges against his little brother had been dropped, but his little brother is still in jail facing a murder charge, right?
Yeah.
This is who I'm supposed to meet up with, right? And expect things to go right.
He put out a note against for his brother recently. And by the way, even when I did ask loosely about what's going on with the family, he says, because I was asking him, I'm like, yo, are you starting to realize that maybe your family and what's being depicted of their behavior might not be good for your career or what's being seen? Because now I'm over here asking about charges. We should be talking about your music. And he's like, nah, that's the fam. And I seen him recently put up a post about his family, and he essentially said that, or his brother, he said, bro, I love you, and I'm standing behind you no matter what, right? Which
okay, that's his brother. All right, I get it. That's a noble thing to do. I applaud that. But you got caught with another gun. And I told him, I said, listen, I'm going to give you some OG advice. Like, I've seen this happen over and over again. And he laughed at me. He said, I would never take advice from you. You're not, it's just plain old advice. You don't come from where I come from. You have no idea, what I go through, and you can't guide me in any way possible or something like that. And I'm like, okay.
Rappers also do get arrogant too.
And look, you get caught with another gun. Maybe you should have listened to me a little bit.
But here's the thing. Rappers, they get arrogant until they get a sentence. So it's like...
He hasn't got a sentence yet.
He might look at this and say, drop a little $70K off to the lawyer, take care of that shit.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, until you end up doing 2-3 years.
Yeah, I'm good.
And and now you're in an LA jail. You're in LA County where, you're surrounded by gangs that you're not a part of. You don't have that built-in protection or whatever else. And LA County is dangerous, man. LA County is a messed up place. And I don't have anything against Polo G. I think he's a dope artist. After all that happened, I said, yo, come in and do an interview. We could address everything, and it will be your biggest interview ever because of what happened.
I believe that... But I don't know why some of these artists don't just be honest with it, because I think it's because of the stigma that you're Vlad. Like, honestly,
but I've interviewed him before.
But now he's bitten into this other like theory of Vlad's the Fez, Vlad this. Please. It's probably better if I make the stance against Vlad. Some people gonna cheer him. Oh yeah, that's real. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is, man. It can't be that.
And it's lame. Honestly, it's lame and it's immature, and I'm not Polo's enemy on any level whatsoever. In fact, I supported him. I supported him when he first got out. He was not a big artist. I gave him, at the time, his biggest platform ever. And instead of a thank you, I got public disses, and then I got the rest of this bullshit along the line, later on down the line. And, like I said, maybe it's a maturity thing because he's less than half my age.
I can't wait to do an interview with him, and hopefully he's around and free in like 3 years. I think we'll see him mature.
I hope so.
Like he's one of those artists that I was like, quickly I realized even through the conversation, I'm like, they always say experience is the greatest teacher in life, man. It only gives you a lesson after the test.
Yeah, so he's just a kid.
He's just
a kid.
He's having a couple of tests, but you'll get the lesson later.
And it seems like he doesn't have good people around him. It seems like his family is basically using his success as an excuse to just act out even worse. You see what I'm saying? Well,
he might have a little bit of survivor's remorse as well too, because when I was talking to him, he was just like the idea of me saying, "Hey, you are talented, and this limelight is very fickle, so you should be the only one enjoying it." I think he was just like, I come from the trenches. Like, this is for all of us. We're all going to enjoy this shit. You know what I mean? We're all going to, which is like, I'm going to keep putting these people in front of, having to have platforms, even if they do something bad that people might look at me. Fuck it. Like, we come from the trenches. And when an artist starts talking like that, you're like, you let him rock.
I get it, man. But, this last album, I'm sure he's going to say numbers don't matter, but this last album did not do what his previous albums have done. And
has to go back a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, he took a few steps back, and it's going to be up to him whether he could get back to where he was or whether he just goes the route of an artist whose greatest work is behind him. We don't know. He's still young. He could turn things around. Like I said, Polo has my number. He could call me at any point. We can get on FaceTime at any point. If he wants to meet up in person, it has to be on my terms, though. It has to be at my location.
I don't think that meeting would be anything of substance, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I would stay away from that.
Well, I'm saying if he wants to do an interview.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't mean just a meetup. Like, I'm just going to
speed up with me in this parking lot.
If you can't maintain your composure over a FaceTime call, you think I'm going to trust you in person? Because he's like, yo, he's like talking all this shit, and I'm like, he's like, yo, because you refusing to FaceTime. I'm like, all you got to do is calm down, and I'll FaceTime you. It's really that simple. You just got to calm down. I'm not a child. You're not going to yell at me. I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm not that type of person.
I'll work it out, though.